There was a sad but inspiring story that emerged from the Vietnam War and all the history about that war. And it's about the stamina and the cohesiveness of the Elmer Zumwalt family. Admiral Zumwalt, a graduate of Annapolis, quickly progressed in his career from rank to rank, and he was appointed Chief of Naval Operations at the age of 49, the youngest person ever to hold that position. Lieutenant Elmo Zumwalt III embraced his father's credo. His father's credo was this: duty, honor, intelligence, and compassion. Much against the Admiral's wishes, the young man elected to serve in Vietnam. He neither sought nor received special treatment from the Navy. In fact, his assignment was an extremely dangerous one, patrolling the rivers in those small boats they used during Vietnam. During this time, the powerful chemical defoliant Agent Orange was used along the riverbanks. In 1983, Lieutenant Zumwalt learned that he had developed cancer. It was traceable to Agent Orange, ironically. His father was the one who had given the order to use Agent Orange. They wrote a book, My Father, My Son, and it details the unbelievable account of the family's courage and commitment to one another. There was no blame. Each man did what he thought he had to do. The son's painful days finally ended. However, before his death, he wrote his father a beautiful letter. Here is the last paragraph. How I loved you. How I would have loved to have continued to fight the battles by your side. You always made a difference. You made my last battle, the journey to death, more gentle, more humane. I love you. Signed, Elmo. It's a crazy world, isn't it? It's a tragic story of how crazy our world can be. The weapons of the strategies used to kill the enemy have killed our own children. And today's news, too, is crazy. We wonder, some of the things we hear in various parts of our social fabric, whether it's about oil prices or anything else, the economy or social structures in our society. So many of the things that we thought would be impossible or that we could never live with are now real possibilities. And people are suffering in ways they never imagined they would have to suffer. And a lot of the things we hear from various sources, all kinds of sources in our society is, well, just keep going. Just keep moving ahead if you possibly can. Keep doing the same things. The same things kind of got us where we are. So maybe we should be doing something different, I think. So when we hear the news, if you're anything like me, I often feel helpless. Jesus said he saw the people and they were helpless and harassed. You feel helpless and harassed? I certainly do, many times. There is so much to listen to, so many things to try to figure out, so much reading to do, and so many opinions. And some people speak from, shooting from the hip with things that aren't really true. And quite frankly, in the media, I'm not sure we're getting very much of the story that we need to hear, because everything has to be quick, How do you explain some of the complexities in our life in 3 minutes or 2 minutes? I don't even know if a story gets 3 minutes nowadays. We need a long time. We need to hear different sides of the issues, and it's hard for us to do that. So we try to sort this stuff out the best we can. I go to the softball games in the senior league, as you know, and somebody starts talking about an issue, holy mackerel. I mean, you got to clear out the dugout after a while, because there's all kinds of points of view. And I have to admit, sometimes I want to wade in, and I have waded in with an opinion that I really didn't have all my facts in a row, And later on, I found out there were a couple of pieces of my ideas that I really didn't know that much about. I should have kept my mouth shut. And quite often, some of the people who love us the most will say things that just come out of a past idea or a past prejudice even, that show our ignorance in how we look at things. But we are harassed, and quite frankly, I think, in many cases, feel helpless. On Father's Day, I think about the pressures of our responsibilities. And sometimes those pressures have certainly caused me as a father to go in directions that I regret. With my own children, there was a time when I was so angry with my son. He did do something that was nasty and awful, and those of you who've raised children, you know they can do that. And we are first astounded by the fact that this child, which is actually a chip off the old block, of course, and has all the grace and skill, not much of which you saw this morning in the children's sermon, of the father, does something terrible. And I remember my son's bedroom was in the basement of this house that we lived in. I remember running down the stairs after him, so angry I couldn't hardly see. And I got down to the bottom of the stairs and I looked at the look on my son's face and realized I had really struck fear in this kid's heart. I don't want to do that. I don't want to cause a child to react out of fear to me, not ever. And that was the last time I ever took off on something without thinking about that moment I had with my own son and how much I regretted it. And just a few years ago, my son is now 27, just a few years ago, we were in some kind of discussion. And I recalled that memory with him. And he said, "You know, I remember that, Dad. And I remember also how important that was to me." I didn't even think that it probably registered very much with him because I was so caught up in my own business because of the responsibilities of being a father. And it's hard and it's tough. And we want to tell our children that life is hard and it takes a lot of just getting going and putting one foot in front of the other to keep life moving along. But we know they're too young to understand that. It's like when a kid first comes home with a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you look at this kid and you say, "Oh no, not this one. Oh no. You couldn't possibly love this one. No, this has got to go and it's got to go quickly." And the kid's got this dreamy look in his eyes or her eyes. And there's not a thing you can say. There's not one argument you could make that would change that kid's mind. And so you just wait. And pray a lot.